Friends, Roman Pontiff, countrymen, we are here today to celebrate our faith in liberty of conscience, our faith in equality, our faith in human rights. It is a great tribute to our secular democracy that the leader of a minority religion has been allowed in the last 3 days to give joy to his countrymen and to insult this country, he and his entourage, with allegations that we're about to abolish Christmas. That was last abolished in 1648 by mad, raving religionists. They thought it was a pagan celebration. That we are aggressive atheists. He's been met with the most utter, exquisite, groveling politeness. And that somehow we are in an uncivilized third world country. What is civilized about demeaning women, demonizing homosexuals, wishing that IVF children had never been born? Our only crime, our only failure, has been silence. Where are our leaders to stand up for British values?
I was at first as outraged as everybody else by the Pope's opening remarks as soon as he landed in Edinburgh, blaming atheists for the atrocities of Hitler and the others of the 20th century. But then I took comfort from it, because it seemed to me that in a way it was showing that we had rattled them so much that he was forced to the ignominious expedient of attacking us so as to divert attention from the real crimes that had been committed in the name of the Catholic Church. I can just imagine the discussions in the corridors of Vatican power. How are we going to distract them from buggering boys? And the answer came, why don't we attack secularists? Why don't we attack atheists? Why don't we blame them for Hitlerism? Adolf Hitler, was a Roman Catholic. He was baptized, he never renounced his baptism. The figure of 5 million British Catholics is presumably obtained from baptismal figures. I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe there are 5 or 6 million British Catholics. There may be 5 or 6 million who have been baptized, but if the Church wants to claim them as Catholics, then they have to claim Hitler as a Catholic.
When we were children and the priests were raping us and sodomizing us and sexually abusing us, we thought we were all alone, and we felt very alone, guilty, and ashamed. And over these past years, and more recently, even in these past months, many of us as victims have found each other, and we have learned that we're not alone. And I must tell each and every one of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the victims, because today we recognize that you too care about the victims. We heard the Pope make statements today, and they were declared to be the most profound apologies yet. But let's be clear, apologies do not protect children. to protect children, we need the Pope to take action. So here's the action that we believe is very simple to take. It won't cost much at all, but it will profoundly protect children today. Number one, we believe that the Pope should put on a website the database of the names of all the credibly accused priest predators.
Unlike the Pope, we are Democrats. We defend his right to come to Britain and express his point of view. But we also assert our right to protest against his often harsh, intolerant teachings. Unlike the Pope, we practice tolerance. We did not witch hunt liberation theologians in South America. The Vatican did. Since he's been in Britain, the Pope has made another of his half-baked apologies. He always apologizes for the failings of others in the Church, but never for his own failings. As the esteemed Catholic theologian Hans Kung has said, Pope Benedict bears co-responsibility for the cover-up of child sex abuse and the protection of pedophile priests.
The Pope says we need the corrective supplied by religion. That is exactly what we don't need. Look around, everywhere. You see the murder and mayhem supplied by religion. We are not on another planet or speaking of centuries past where someone can get away with saying this. Every second of every minute of every hour of every day, we see religion's corrective supplied to the world, from stem cell research to family planning to exemptions to discriminations.
The Pope himself condemned our intolerant secularism and our aggressive atheism. And last night in Westminster Hall, just down the road, speaking to the political elite of our country, the Pope questioned whether secular democracy alone could have any values at all. Well, Britain is not a perfect country. It's true that as a matter of national policy, we don't use our status as a nation to lobby at the UN against the human rights of women, or against the human rights of lesbian and gay people. It's true that our state doesn't use its recognition as a state to lobby against the use of condoms, even in places suffering epidemics of HIV/AIDS. It's true that our country has never, as a matter of national policy, concealed the sexual abuse of children and frustrated justice for survivors of sexual abuse. But I don't think that makes us a moral wasteland. And I'd rather be a citizen of Britain than of the Holy See.
I just want to deal with a false charge against Joseph Ratzinger in the name of even-handedness. There have been lots of people who've said that Joseph Ratzinger didn't do enough about the child sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. Actually, that's not true. He did a lot. For 25 years, he did a lot. He actively covered up the rape of children. He actively helped those paedophiles. There are thousands of children who were abused as a direct result of what he did, and we have got the paper trail. Anyone who wants to can go on Google, they can find documents leaked by good and decent Catholics. Let me give you just one example. In 2001, he wrote to every bishop in the world, and he told them to keep this memo in their safe. And he said that any allegations of child sexual abuse should be dealt with, quote, in the utmost secrecy, restrained by perpetual silence, under pain of excommunication. Imagine if you had done this where you work. Imagine if in your office you found out that there was a bunch of paedophiles running the creche, and you went to your boss and he said, we deal with this in-house. No one goes to the police. You go to the police, you're out. And he moved those paedophiles to the other office in Slough, and they raped another load of kids. And the boss swore all of them to secrecy. Every single one of you would go to prison for that. Joseph Ratzinger is not above the law. He is a person like all of us, and he should be held accountable under the law. And I would just say to all the Catholics who are queuing up to go and hear this man, take a look at the man on your crucifix. I don't believe in Christianity, but I can admire some of the ideas that Jesus articulated. Who do you think Jesus Christ would be standing with? The man who covered up the rape of children, or us in solidarity with all those raped kids?